Hey there, it's Lucy, and I overthought that. So, what a better way to cope than to start an exhaustive research about the convincing theories of it, right? I learned about various approaches, from the idea of going to heaven to the idea of becoming the universe itself. Now, I am not very fond of it, but based on the materialist theory, I concluded that death does not happen at all. At least from a subjective point of view. Before I explain why I think death doesn't happen, let's talk about what materialism even is. According to this philosophy, all facts must be grounded in a physical process. So that means that our experience of being alive only exists because of our neurons and nerves inside our brain, suggesting that when those neurons die, our consciousness dies along with them. Of course, not everyone thinks that's correct. Take for instance Plato, who suggested that consciousness exists independently of the body, with the world of physical senses and abstract forms being fundamentally different. There is also the Buddhist approach, in which it is believed that we reincarnate when our time has come, or the Abrahamic religions, which all state that humans will transcend to the glory of God. But from the materialist point of view, our soul per se won't transcend or become anything else. It'll just disappear. Many will say that this philosophy did not become a thing until science took over, but it has actually been a thing since ancient times. One of the most famous phrases being, "That is nothing to us." When we exist, that is not. And when that exists, we are not, from Epicurus. This sentence alone has inspired many philosophers and neuroscientists to join the materialist ideology. All of that explanation doesn't mean that I fully support it though. I believe materialism to be, most of the time, very limited to only what we see in the natural world. But regardless of that, their idea of death captivated my eye. Because if nothing happens after death, then it just simply can't happen. Now, hear me out. This is the part where it gets tricky, since the term nothing has been debated for a long time, as it represents the absence of something. That simply means that nothing isn't a concept at all. It is just as the ancient Greek philosopher Parmenides thought. Only being exists, making non-being logically impossible. Some will say that it isn't that deep, that it is just as being under anesthesia. You just don't feel it. But anesthesia has a beginning and an end. That does not, making that comparison fail. And I have been thinking, but there isn't a single analogy that could enlighten us, because all of them must require an experience. The point that I'm trying to get to is that if nothing happens after death, then subjectively, death does not occur. And I say subjectively because we can definitely see when someone is dead. Earlier, I quoted Epicurus by saying that when death exists, we are not. But to that, I would argue that death does not exist in consciousness at all, as it is nothing, and nothing is the absence of existence. Now, to avoid any misinterpretations, I do need to say that the action of dying do happen, and we'll probably be able to feel the process. Or not, I don't know, I haven't died before. The point is, dying happens. Death does not. Am I sure this theory is true? No. Do I know what happens after death? Also no. However, looking back at my little death crisis, I now wonder why I was so scared of what is to happen to me, or anyone in general, when the time comes. But at least semantically, we don't die. Doesn't matter where your point of view stands, whether it's reincarnating, going to heaven, or nothing, as discussed in this video. The consciousness keeps going on one way or another. Thank you very much for staying until the end of the video. If you are interested and want to explore my idea further, I'd recommend that you check the reflection I wrote on this topic in my blog linked in the description. See you the next time.